Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today, we're plunging into the very start of an epic tale. Think ancient Japan, terrifying demons.
Right, and a young man whose whole world just gets shattered.
Exactly. We're looking at the manga sources, the beginning volumes that introduce us to, well, this protagonist with an amazing sense of smell.
And his sister, whose transformation is just incredible. It really drives everything.
It really does.
Our mission today really is to pull out those foundational bits, the characters, what makes them tick right from the start.
What are they facing? How do they even begin to cope?
Exactly. It's this fascinating mix, isn't it? Deep personal tragedy, but then, bam, straight into heroic action.
So let's get into it. What's the thing that really kicks off this whole wild journey for our hero, Tanjiro? Okay, so you're introduced to Tanjiro Kamado. Seems like a really kind-hearted kid selling charcoal. Taisho-era Japan. Sounds pretty peaceful.
Almost idyllic, yeah. Simple life.
But then just unimaginable tragedy hits. His entire family, they're slaughtered
Yeah.
by a demon.
Right.
But what makes this specific event so central to his entire path? It's not just the loss, is it?
No, not just the loss. The key thing, the twist, is his younger sister, Nezuko. She's the only survivor,
Right.
but she's been turned into a demon herself.
Ah.
And that immediately sets up this incredibly dangerous, morally complex journey for Tanjiro. It's twofold.
Twofold. How so?
Well, he needs to find and destroy the demon who did this, who ruined his family. That's the vengeance part.
Understandable.
But also, maybe even more importantly, he needs to find a way to turn Nezuko back into a human. It's driven by revenge, sure, but also this deep, profound love for his sister.
And almost right after this horrific discovery, he runs into someone, right? A demon slayer.
Yeah, Gyu Tomioka shows up, very serious, clearly powerful, and his first instinct.
To kill Nezuko because she's a demon.
Exactly, standard procedure, you'd think. But then something happens. There's this moment.
That bond between them. Nezuko, even as a demon, she actually protects Tanjiro from Gyu.
And that stops Gyu in his tracks. It's completely unexpected.
So Gyu makes this call, spares her life. What does that decision really mean for Tanjiro going forward?
It's huge. It sets up this core theme right away. Compassion, even potentially for demons, or at least recognizing complexity.
It's not just black and white.
Not at all. Gyu's decision to trust what he sees, this unique situation, it's pivotal. It basically says, okay, the rules might not apply here.
And it puts Tanjiro on the path, right?
Absolutely. Gyu points him towards a specific master, Urokodaki, for training. That decision shapes everything that comes next.
So, okay, Tanjiro goes through this intense training with Urokodaki. Then comes his first real test, his first mission as a demon slayer.
Right. Fresh out of training, he's sent to investigate disappearances, young girls vanishing in a nearby town.
And his unique skill, that incredible sense of smell, comes into play immediately.
It does. It leads him straight to the culprit, this really grotesque creature, the swamp demon.
What's the deal with this demon? What makes it tick?
Well, it's visually disturbing, sure, disfigured, but its abilities are the real challenge. It can create multiple clones of itself.
Okay, that's tough.
And it moves through this, black, swampy substance that can just appear anywhere. Walls, the ground, seamless movement.
Hard to pin down.
Very. And there's this grim proof. One of the clones has a hairpin from a missing girl, confirms their fate.
Horror.
And there's this weird, haunting line it mutters. Something about devouring my brother. It gives you a hint, maybe, that there's more to its story. A past behind the monster.
So Tanjiro has to think fast. He starts using his breath of water techniques.
Yeah, these are, specialized sword styles combined with breathing. They let slayers boost their power, mimic elements.
Right. He uses the 8th style waterfall jar. Sounds powerful. And the 2nd style water wheel, more fluid.
Exactly. He's using the tools that Urokodaki gave him. He even notes himself, how he can draw power within the water techniques.
But the demon's just too slippery, right? Sinking into the ground, popping out of walls.
Makes standard attacks really difficult. How do you fight something that isn't there half the time?
So what does he do?
He has to observe. He starts looking for something he calls the line of interval.
The line of interval, what's that?
Basically like a weak point, a moment of vulnerability, a critical spot to strike. Even amidst all the chaos and disappearing acts, it's about precision, not just power.
Smart. And Nezuko jumps in too.
She does. Even as a demon, her instinct is to protect humans. She fights the clones, helps Tanjiro. It really underlines how unique she is. She's not just a mindless monster.
Okay, so he survives the swamp demon. Next mission sends him somewhere completely different.
Totally different, from the countryside to the big city Asakusa in Tokyo Prefecture. A real culture shock, probably.
Bustling, modern. But the change isn't just the location, right? The threats level up, too.
Oh, definitely. This is where things get really serious, because he encounters the main antagonist.
The one responsible for everything.
The very one, Muzan Kibutsuji. And the chilling part, he looks human. Just walking around Asakusa in a fedora with a family, blending right in.
Terrifying. How does Tanjiro even recognize him?
That sense of smell again. He catches the scent. But Muzan he's terrifyingly powerful and casual about it.
Well, you see his power, right? This blood bewitchment.
Yeah, it's basically the unique supernatural ability each strong demon has. Muzan's is horrifying. He just, scratches a passing man.
And turns him into a demon instantly.
Instantly. Inflicts a massive amount of blood, it says. Causes the guy's cells to just break down, transform violently. Shows Muzan's absolute control and, frankly, his cruelty.
And there's another demon fight in Asakusa, too, isn't there?
Right. A female demon working for Muzan. She uses these handballs, Tamari balls, but weaponized. They bounce at impossible angles, change trajectory midair.
Tricky. How does Tanjiro handle that? More breath of water.
He does. He pulls out the 7th style drop wave pattern, piercing strike curve. You can just picture the movement from the name, right?
Yeah.
And the 3rd style, dance of the fast-moving current.
You can really see his skills improving, adapting to different kinds of attacks.
Absolutely. He's learning on the job constantly. But Asakusa isn't just about fighting Muzan's forces. He finds allies, too.
Ah, yes. Tamayo and Yushiro. Who are they?
They're demons,
Yeah.
but different. Tamayo is actively working against Muzan. She reveals her own blood bewitchment, mystical fragrance of the white day.
What does that do?
It acts like a truth serum, messes with brain function, but more importantly for Tanjiro.
The cure for Nezuko.
Exactly. Tamayo reveals she's researching it, and she uses this cat, Chachimaru, who can turn invisible, by the way, to collect blood samples from powerful demons.
Which Tanjiro needs to help her research. A vital connection.
Absolutely critical for his main goal. And just to underline Muzan's control, that handball demon, she fails, and Muzan curses her remotely. She just disintegrates.
Shows his power and his lack of mercy. Scary stuff. Okay, moving on from the city. Tanjiro's journey takes another turn. He picks up some colorful companions.
Yeah. That's one way to put it. He meets Zenitsu Agatsuma and Inosuke Hashibira.
Zenitsu first. He seems, well, terrified all the time.
Oh, incredibly so. He's loud, he panics, he's constantly crying, even begs a random girl to marry him so he won't die alone on his next mission.
Doesn't sound like prime demon slayer material.
You wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. When the danger gets really extreme, when he's pushed past his limit, he passes out, falls asleep.
He falls asleep.
Deep sleep. And then he transforms, becomes this incredibly fast, incredibly powerful swordsman. Just one lightning-fast move, usually. It's like a completely different person.
Wow. Where did that come from?
The story is his hair turned blonde because he was struck by lightning during training. So maybe that unlocks something. It's a paradox.
Right.
Peak power triggered by peak fear and unconsciousness.
Wild. And then there's Inosuke, the guy in the boar mask.
Pure, wild energy. Raised by boars in the mountains, apparently. He wears a boar head of his adoptive mother. He's all about brute force, instinct.
What are his moves like?
Very direct. Fang of the Third, rip and devour, pig assault. You get the picture. He wants to fight anything strong, especially Tanjiro at first.
Quite the team dynamic forming there. And they find themselves in this drum house.
Yeah, this bizarre house controlled by another demon, Kyogai. He's an X-12 demon moon.
So he used to be one of the top demons under Muzan.
Exactly. The 12 demon moons are the elite. Kyogai lost his spot and he's desperate to get back in Muzan's favor, trying to get stronger by eating rare blood humans.
And his power involves drums.
Drums, embedded in his body. He beats them, and the whole room rotates. Right shoulder drum spins it right, left shoulder left, leg drums move it forward or back, stomach drum unleashes these claw attacks.
Whoa. That sounds incredibly disorienting to fight in. Floors become walls, ceilings become floors.
Totally dizzying. It completely negates normal footing and movement.
How does Tanjiro even cope with that, especially since he's already injured from previous fights?
This is where Tanjiro really has to use his brain. Brute force won't work. He starts observing Kyogai, linking the specific drum beat to the room's movement. Right leg means forward, stomach means claws, like learning a deadly rhythm.
Pattern recognition under extreme pressure.
Exactly. And he needs to find that line of interval again, the opening to strike. But how do you do that when the ground keeps vanishing beneath you?
So it innovates.
He develops a new technique on the spot, a ninth style for his breath of water. The goal is to minimize landing time, to move fluidly through the rotations, almost defying the changing gravity of the room.
Incredible adaptation.
It really is. And Kyogai also has this vulnerability. He was a writer. He gets really upset if his manuscripts scattered around the room are stepped on.
A demon writer adds another layer.
It does. Tanjiro even avoids stepping on the paper out of respect, which slightly throws Kyogai off. And crucially, Tanjiro manages to get a blood sample from Kyogai for Tamayo.
Even in that chaos, he remembers the mission for Nezuko. It shows how much he's growing, not just in strength, but mentally, strategically, especially with broken bones.
Absolutely. It's a testament to his resilience and his focus. Rapid evolution under constant, intense pressure.
So looking back at these first few steps, from that devastating family tragedy to fighting swamp creatures with multiple bodies, battling demons, including the big boss in a city, navigating a literally rotating house, Tanjiro's initial journey is just, wow, a masterclass in adaptation.
And resilience, definitely. And also that thread of compassion, even for his enemies sometimes.
Yeah, that's striking.
What really stands out is how each fight forces him beyond just, hitting harder. He has to observe, strategize, figure out the opponent's unique gimmick.
The line of interval.
The drum beats, the trajectory of the handballs, and he learns to lean on his companions too, even with all their quirks. Zenitsu's sudden power, in Inosuke's raw force.
It really drives home that understanding your opponent, their specific abilities and weaknesses, is just as vital as your own strength. Maybe even more so sometimes.
Couldn't agree more. It's about fighting smarter, not just harder.
So thinking about all that, maybe for you listening, what unexpected lines of interval, those moments of clarity or weakness, have you found when facing your own complex challenges?
Or what unique skills, maybe ones you didn't expect, have surfaced when you've really been pushed to adapt?
Good questions. Keep observing, keep adapting, and, keep diving deep into the world around you.